Hey guys, it's Todd with Commercial Tracks. Listen, maybe you're just kind of getting into the writing music for music library game, and you're wondering, or you've had this question come up, should I write for exclusive libraries or non-exclusive libraries? We're going to talk about that a little bit and kind of give you a framework around them both, and some of the things that you want to look at when considering, which way you want to go. All right, so first of all, let's define the differences between your exclusive library versus the non-exclusive production music libraries. But the exclusive libraries, it is just exactly what it sounds like. It means that you will be under contract for that library and that library alone to represent the material that you've signed over to them, for them to try to get placements on those songs. Usually that contract is going to last from anywhere from 2 to 3 years, but they would be the exclusive representation of those particular songs that you've signed over to them. The non-exclusive library gives a little bit more freedom in that you're not necessarily bound to them. You can still publish or shop your songs to other libraries for placement, but that runs into some issues. All right. So let's kind of break that down and talk about it a little bit more. Some of the benefits of the exclusive libraries are that they typically arguably would vet their songs a lot more, vet the writers and producers that are a part of those libraries, those songs that are being represented there. Maybe they're a little bit harder to get into. The quality of the music is arguably a bit better, I've found, at least in my experience with the exclusive music libraries. And so those are things that you maybe would want to consider. For non-exclusive, a lot of times producers will think, or composers, especially those that are new to the game, they'll think, well, I can keep my rights, I can keep control of the copyright, and I can shop these songs to whomever I would like to. If I shop them to more people, then I have more opportunities for placements. Eventually, that's gonna backfire on you. That doesn't really work. If you're in this game for real, you want to be able to write as much music as you can. Meaning, don't sign 10 songs to that library and then go to 10 other libraries and try to take those same songs, to those other libraries. If you're in this seriously, you're trying to make a career out of this, you should be okay with understanding that I may have to write hundreds of songs in my career, right? You're not trying to write 10 songs and then take them to 10 different libraries, or write 10 songs and take them to 5 different libraries, right? 5 or 10 songs in 5 different libraries means that there's 50 pieces of music. If you're not going to be willing to write 50 pieces of music, and that's not a lot of music, if you're not willing to write that much, you're not really doing this seriously, right? So both of these platforms, whether you go with dealing with a non-exclusive library or an exclusive library, there's some pros and cons to each. If you're dealing with non-exclusive libraries, anybody can kind of submit material to be used on the platform. And that can, in some ways, if you're not careful, it can lessen the quality of your music, right? So you want to try to make sure that the group or the places where your songs are represented is a good place for your song to be represented, meaning that it's alongside other quality material, other well-produced or well-composed pieces of music, especially if you're serious about making a career out of writing and making music for film, television, commercials, so on and so forth. Again, typically what non-exclusive libraries are going to do is they would rename the material so that they can be represented on their platform. So first of all, my first piece of advice would be that you don't have to limit yourself to either or. You can be represented on both of those platforms, and there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you're just getting started in this, you may maybe prefer to be on within an exclusive library, but you may not have that luxury, or you may not have been writing long enough to be able to secure that type of a position, right? So using both platforms is going to be great. So my advice would be, look for all of the exclusive library opportunities that you possibly can. If there's any way for you to get in there, try to get in there, right? I can tell you that the first few libraries that I ever wrote for, the relationship was great. I didn't place my first few songs. I wrote a good number of songs before I got anything placed. But because I was working with those music supervisors trying to get placements, it helped me to develop some relationships and learn the ropes and figure out what it was going to take. So they actually kind of, in a few cases, helped me to work through and fine tune some of my compositions so that they did place, right? And so even if you're not placing in a library, developing those relationships is still very important to help you to lock in and to get something into some of those libraries. And that's going to lead to more placements in the future, right? At the very least, it's going to lead to credibility for your ability to have placements within reputable music libraries. And so that's important, and that's still a valuable thing, even if you don't initially get songs placed at the onset. But taking a look at exclusive libraries, every opportunity, all of the things that you might be possibly able to submit for. In all honesty, my advice would be to you that if you're going to deal with a non-exclusive production music library, that you should treat them like they are exclusive. That's one of the benefits of having non-exclusive deals, because it does allow you to license to multiple libraries, but that's still not a good practice. So if you're going to 5 different non-exclusive libraries, treat them like they're exclusive. Only give each library, 10 songs. If you're going to write 10 songs for that library, give that library 10 songs. Don't give those songs to anybody else. Write out that contract for whatever it is, the terms and the conditions of the contract. Let's say it's 2 to 3 years or whatever, and just leave those songs with that library. It's going to do a number of things for you. Number one, it's going to make it easier for you to track when you get placements. If I put one song in 5 different libraries and the song did get a placement, it still might get convoluted and muddy as to where the song placed and which library was successful in placing my song. But if I only have this song in one library, then I don't have to worry about it. If the song gets placed, I know who was successful at placing that song, right? And so it's not a good idea just because you can do it that you should, take a handful of songs and go to a variety of libraries that are just going to rename the songs. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Non-exclusive libraries are not a bad thing if you know how to deal with those libraries. I have had success in non-exclusive as well as exclusive libraries. And again, the reason I think that I have been successful at it is I would treat those non-exclusive libraries just like they were exclusive libraries, right? You set the standard for your own professionalism in the clients or the libraries that you work with, right? Meaning I'm only going to turn in a certain number of songs, or only these titles are going to you. They won't be anyplace else. And that's just for my own benefit, for my own work ethic, for my own character and integrity of how I'm working this. I don't have a problem writing as many songs as necessary. That's what I'm trying to do, for a living. That's going to change the way you're viewed in the industry. And that's going to help you to be more stable in what you do, more professional in what you do. That's going to allow you to get more placements. Things like character, integrity, and a good work ethic, they just work no matter what you do and who you do it for. It's important and it's valuable. You should always make that a priority in what you do. And not to mention, taking this approach also helps you to be a little bit more selective about whatever library you're trying to get your material in, whether it's an exclusive library or a non-exclusive library. So listen, guys, I hope that this helped. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next video.